Uh, Good evening, residents of Midgar. You're listening to the Collective Gamescast, the gaming podcast that gives you a voice. This is episode 13, Final Fantasy VII Tribute. I'm your host, who wishes he had Sephiroth's hair, the Malgadar. With me, as always, is the man who wishes he had a gun arm, Chris.
Yo.
Joining us is the man still confused about what the fuck Kate Sith is, Matt.
Hey.
Joining us is the man who's a better thief than Yuffie, whatever the hell you call her, Drew. And we also got the new guy. We found him in a coffin just like Vincent, Andrew.
What's up?
All right. Well, that's all of us. We got a big crew tonight. And as always, you can join us in the Google Hangout on Fridays at 10 p.m. Eastern. If you want to be one of the guests on the show or recommend topics, you can email us at collectivegamescast@gmail.com. All right, so we got a new guest, so why don't we start with that. Andrew, welcome to the Collective Gamescast. How you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Okay. So you probably know that it's standard for us when we bring somebody on to ask them about their core 4 games, so why don't we get right to it?
So my core 4 right now are PC games, but I definitely have... so those ones are Hearthstone, Civilization V, World of Warcraft, and League of Legends.
Wow, when I said get to it, he just flew through it. Nobody did that before.
Oh. But, right. I mean, I enjoy strategy games, and that's particularly games that involve some element of, like, strategizing. Civilization is obviously the one where you sit down and it's just thinking about your civilization, and you can play it for like 8 hours and forget that the 8 hours went by. And that's a little different than World of Warcraft and League of Legends, which are obviously like online multiplayer games that involve teamwork. And I really do enjoy that aspect of both of those. I rated in a top 50 guild for a couple years and really enjoyed that. And with League of Legends, each game there's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of like you have to work with the players you're matched with. I really enjoy that. Even if the players you're matched with are complete idiots, it's just one of those things that's like you have to work with whoever you get, and it's fun to just kind of be put in that situation. I guess I enjoy trying to work with what's in front of me. And the other thing about League of Legends is, like, I don't know, each character, each game is just unique because it depends on who's in it, and it depends on, like, what the skill set is, and it's kind of like a social experiment in some sense, because everyone on the team, like, also has an effect on everyone else based on how they, like, play and how they comment, and, like, it's an interesting situation. And then Hearthstone is the one I've been playing a lot recently, and I really enjoy that because it's a very basic, kind of easy collectible card game online, but it has a lot of like depth and a lot of like interesting variation in mechanics. Like the card mechanics are really can actually have quite a lot more to them than they seem. Like, it's a really easy game to understand, but there's a lot of like surprising depth to it, and I really enjoy that.
Depth equals money, right?
What was that?
I said depth equals money, right?
Yeah, I mean,
it's all that money to get the cards, or you spend a lot more time playing, right?
Yeah, so you either pay for all the cards, or you sort of just play like the daily quests and earn them over time. I particularly enjoy the arena aspect of Hearthstone because everyone is like, you get a random 30 cards, so it's, there's a 30 cards in the deck, and in Arena you basically start from scratch and you got to pick one of 3 cards in 30 rounds and draft your own deck. And
okay,
that one is really interesting because there are cards that suck and there are cards that are good, but a lot of it comes around how you build your deck, and is like at the beginning you sort of just pick the best card, and then toward the end of the draft you got to pick the cards that fit what you need more than just picking the best card. So
Well, then doesn't it make it more like even? Like, you know, someone didn't spend like all their money on like, you know, like a really ridiculous deck. This one it's more like more even, more balanced.
Yeah, and I enjoy that. I mean, that's part of it because I don't have all the legendaries yet. I mean, you can spend hundreds of dollars on the game to get all the legendary minions, and like I've got a few now. Like so like the constructed play, which is like the ladder play. I have a couple decks now that are like viable, you know, at the top level. I just haven't. I don't know. I don't enjoy it as much as Arena because sitting down to play like hundreds of games in like the ladder, like I might try it one of these months, but it takes a lot of time to try to climb up the ranks. So.
Okay. Well, that's the second time we had somebody say Hearthstone in their core 4, right? Didn't Allie say that too?
Yeah,
Or
that
was
was
her honorable mention? I can't remember.
Yeah, that was that I think it might have been the honorable mention one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. World of Warcraft, didn't really play much of that. Never got into Civ. Yeah.
Civ was like a 40-hour game.
Yeah, and I never played
was just
League
one
either,
match.
so I can't really say much about this core 4. You know, but I know there's people out there who love the shit out of all them games, so it sounds solid to me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't know. Those are the PC games that I enjoy playing, and there's some level of like, you know, competitiveness, especially with when I was like raiding seriously in World of Warcraft. You know, I obviously would like to, you know, climb the ranks at some point in Hearthstone, but on the other hand, like League of Legends, like I just enjoy that game, even though I know I'm pretty bad at it, because that game is a lot about like your reaction time and ability to like click abilities like really fast, and it's not my strongest suit. I'm more the person that likes to think about what's happening.
I'm with you.
So.
Make a plan and execute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Interesting core 4. Anything any of you guys want to say about it before we move on?
I remember when this dude used to play WoW when we were roommates. And there was this time where I worked overnight, so I was leaving at like 7, 8 o'clock to go in, and he would be, I think, in classes or whatever. And he was like, dude, can you like, because they're at that point we had like one of the biggest servers, and it was always packed. Like at 7 or 8 o'clock, it was always a queue time. So he's like, dude, can you like log me in and get the queue started so when I come home I could play? And there was one day I just didn't do it, not on purpose. I just kind of like, fuck, I gotta go to work. So I went in and I get this angry ass to like, dude, what the fuck, man? You need to queue in for this raid. I was like, dude, are you serious right now? Are you this pissed off over not being able to like hop in and play? Like every other normal person has to wait. You wait too, man. Too dark into
Right.
that world.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, wasn't that I had to go to work at Target, I think, and I had to come home.
Was that it? Was you
I
were
think
working
it
at
was
Target?
Yeah, that job
yeah.
only lasted a few months, but
Yeah, until Call of Duty came out, where you got Call of Duty-itis.
Oh, dude, that was another good time. You walk into the living room and the couch is like a good 3 feet away from the wall where it used to be. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I went online and I found out that the optimal viewing range of a TV this size is a certain amount of feet. So I moved the couch to reach that viewing range. I'm like, for Call of Duty?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, he was pretty into it.
Oh, man.
All right. Interesting. Good times. All
Good
that young man
times.
shit.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty
I've
much.
got a good World of Warcraft memory. It was
There are no good World of Warcraft memories.
this is when you and Andrew were roommates, and I think it was all 4 of us were over one night, and we played until like 6 in the morning, something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was when you guys had the nice laptops.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good times. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of fun.
All right. Okay. Well, we got the core four. We get a bit of a better idea where your opinion comes from, and let's move on with things. Chris, how's your week in gaming been?
It's been interesting. Took the Browns to third straight Super Bowl, so pretty good at Madden right now. So
Is that the end of Madden?
that was the highlight of my week.
Did they shut the game down if that happens? Like, that's it. Madden 17 production is done.
Yeah, like, oh shit, dude, you broke the game, man.
Do they throw a wild party at the end?
What was that?
Do they throw a wild party at the end with Johnny Manziel or something, or?
No, the game crashed. Like, it doesn't work anymore. It's just broken.
Oh god.
But
all right. Anything else going on other than the impossible?
Yeah, so I did that. That was that's my.
We lose him.
He's so shy. Like, it's okay, Chris. We all want to hear what you have to say. You don't have to get like this. All right, until he's ready to finish talking about it. Matt, what have you been up to this week?
It really was a little. It really was. Like, I don't have much time.
First he doesn't say anything, then he interrupts. Like, what is going on, man? Come on.
It's that good old internet connection.
Oh, man. We're in Comcast country. That shit should be stable.
Get Comcast-rated.
Yeah. All right, back to the question, Matt. So what have you been up to this week, man?
I've actually not been playing Fallout 4. Last time I touched it was Monday. I know, it's blasphemy.
That's okay. What pulled you away?
Nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting.
It's been kind of hectic at work, so whenever I would get home, I didn't really want to pay attention to anything. So I've just been watching TV. That's it.
Okay, fair enough. Drew.
I saw you log on to Fallout like an hour ago.
Well, it's besides the point.
Wow, it was Monday an hour ago. This is a crazy day.
Yeesh, man.
All right, Drew.
Calling you out, man.
I've been playing especially with the Final Fantasy trailer and all that. I haven't been playing Final Fantasy VII, but I've been playing a really good RPG, Bravely Default on 3DS.
Oh, I've been wanting to play that.
It's amazing. I like everything about it. Like, the soundtrack's amazing. The combat system's unique and a lot of fun. You can change the different classes and jobs.
I read it's the best Final Fantasy game in 10 years.
Yeah, hands down. Definitely one of the better RPGs that has been released by Square Enix in that amount of time. But no, it's amazing. I definitely would recommend it if you have a 3DS or if you have a friend that will let you borrow it just for that game. It's totally worth it. Just a full experience to immerse yourself in that game. So.
Well, it's one of the things that's been on my to-do list since it came out, so you can see how good I'm doing at getting around to it.
Well, I got it day one, and I finally am actually playing it. So, there's time.
Okay. Drew, what have you been doing this week in gaming? Nothing?
You mean Andrew?
Oh, wait, I meant Andrew, sorry. This is getting confusing with the Drew, Andrew.
Did we go back in time? That's re-enter?
What just happened?
Well, according to Matt, a week can pass in like an hour, so yeah.
I've been playing StarCraft 2 and also been playing Hearthstone. So the recent expansion, Legacy of the Void.
How is that?
It's a lot of fun. The campaign is pretty cool, and I don't get too into the multiplayer for that because it's a similar to League of Legends in that you have to be able to click and command things really fast, and it just takes a lot of time to like learn how to do that, and I haven't gotten over that hump yet. But as far as like the story and the campaign, it's a lot of fun. It's got a really cool story. So, and then Hearthstone, they came out with like a new adventure expansion, so I've been playing some of that and doing some arenas, collecting some of the cards. So.
All stuff I know nothing about. Sounds cool though.
Yeah, those games are a lot of fun. I don't know. I keep thinking about playing Fallout 4, but I never quite pull the trigger. So
It's like me and Just Cause.
yeah.
I keep seeing videos of Just Cause 3, and I'm like, God damn it, I should buy this game.
Looks good, man. That might be one of those like after the dust settles from Christmas kind of games.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be.
I did just remember something else I've been doing all week.
Oh, no.
From an hour ago, or
Yeah, on YouTube.
oh,
There was
okay.
I have to find the channel again, but they have like a little mini series of the history of Fallout and all of the different factions and stuff. They kind of talk about stuff from the games and how they relate to what we play now and what we used to play. And
Interesting.
I gotta find it.
Okay.
It's pretty
You guys
cool.
send me that link later. Yeah.
Yeah, if you remember that channel, share the link in the chat.
Yeah.
It'll be
What
okay.
have you been up to, man?
A lot of Fallout 4 this week. A lot of Fallout 4. I got an update on that. Remember we talked last week about the Reddit user Minus Ra?
Yeah.
Or Manusra, or however you would say that, and he put out that great tactical table where he broke down all the work with the Idiot Savant perk and intelligence and how they coexisted.
Yep.
So, based on the math, I decided to invest the 2 perk points to get the 5x experience. And I have to admit, if you're not willing to game the system, that it really doesn't seem to be worth it. Because it really isn't popping up much for me. And when it is, the only way to make it worth it is to get it to pop on quests. And you can kind of game the system by getting drunk and stuff like that beforehand to drop your intel to give yourself a better chance of having it pop, and then just basically save scumming over and over until you get it. But
Interesting.
I don't want to cheese the system like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just kind of like, well... So, 2 perk points I probably should not have spent with the 10 intel. Now, if you're willing to like do all the work and game the system, it's spectacular. But if you were willing to game the system, it didn't matter to begin with. So, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So just a thought. Of course, you can just perk up to infinity, but now I'm on 3 perks I wish I didn't take instead of 2. Or 1, rather.
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of story questing. Did the lot of the main story. Built my teleporter. Got into the Institute. Met the Railroad. Did a little bit of work with them. Went flying on the Brotherhood's airship.
Yeah. Hold on, did you notice in the Institute that there was a lot of dead cats?
I just got there last night, actually. Found out the big reveal about like Sean when you meet back up with him.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was, and that was pretty much where I stopped. I was like, okay, I got that. I want to explore this place, and I'm tired, so I was like, I'm done. And then all day today, I played the Final Fantasy VII on PS4. So
Okay.
yeah, so I haven't gotten back to it yet, but I did get my XO1 power armor.
Where'd you find it?
35 court.
35 court.
It's due east of Good Neighbor. It's an unmarked location.
Alright, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, I was level 30. I went over there, bam, got it. And then there was a nice jump down because like the top floor of the building is open to the outside, so I got it. And then I just jumped down like 10 stories or whatever to the ground.
Like a badass.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yep.
Yeah. Although, I wonder. No, you can't unequip the frame mid-fall, probably. I might have to try that, though.
Just jumping in the frame?
No, jump off a building and then try to exit the frame and see what happens. Probably doesn't work.
Nah.
Be funny, though. See who hits first near the power armor. Yeah, so that's. I mean, I could go on and on about all the quests in Fallout 4, but I'd much rather move on to the topic of the night,
Yeah.
which is little Final Fantasy VII. So, first thing I'll say is, tell me everybody's played it.
Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. I'm not sure if I played it yet.
Well, it wasn't a very popular game. I mean, they didn't like have a lot of TV commercial spots or critic appeal or yeah.
Is that the one with the little
story was
unicorn,
terrible,
or?
wasn't it?
Okay.
Pretty sure it was a fighting
story.
It's
Hang on,
definitely
we're gonna get a copyright strike from sarcasm if we keep this up. Yeah. Okay, so everybody's played it. Has everybody beaten the game?
Yes.
I mean, my biatch. No.
I haven't recently, but I've definitely beaten it a couple times. So.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so we should be good to talk about everything. That was really all I was worried about, was making sure like we were good to talk about everything. How fresh is everybody's memory on the game?
Very old.
This should be
not very fresh. I tried
This
to
should
take
be
some
enlightening
notes.
then. Okay, I get this feeling I might be the only one who's beaten it recently, but you know.
Yeah, I think it's been a few years. So I remember the big plot points. I remember a lot of the plot, but I don't remember some of the like details. Probably.
I was going to start the discussion with memories of the game, so go ahead. Somebody got something?
I do. I remember the summer. I think it was like right after my senior year. I'm one of those. I really like to grind like ridiculous like with RPGs, and I remember my friend and I were playing, and we were actually we were able to like kind of play it almost two-player, where he would play through a lot of the story, and then like literally we played it for like almost like for the whole summer, pretty much straight. That's all I kind of went over to his house and we would play. And I think by the end of the first disc, I think I was like I was just so high level that it was just like a cakewalk, and I had so much money that we just were able to buy everything that we wanted for almost the rest of the game. But I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos where I can just grind for days. And I don't know. I find it fun.
Can be, especially in the age of podcasting, man.
Has
Put
anyone,
on a great podcast like, I don't know, like the Collective Gamescast, and you're good for 2 hours, you know?
has anyone,
Listen to this jackass and his friends talk about games.
has anyone seen Aerith's Final Limit Break?
Wait. What did you just say?
I might have mispronounced her name, but has anyone seen Aerith?
No, don't talk like you have a lisp. It's Eris. Okay? I don't know why they're trying to do this revisionist history and fix it. It's too late. It's Eris. I named my daughter Eris. It's Eris. It's over. Aerith just sounds like, I don't know, like you got a speech problem. Aerith. Like, no. Come on.
Maybe I do, but has anyone seen
No.
Nope, I never did.
It was that's how much grinding I did, as I was able to get the Final Limit Break before she dies. So.
Yeah, you gotta kill a lot of enemies with her. What, about 200 or so at least to get it.
I remember finally getting out of Midgar, and I feel like I ran into some I went too far ahead and just got completely destroyed by some worms or something.
Oh, the Midgar Zalem, I bet.
Yeah, I remember that, and I was like, what the fuck is this? What am I doing? And yeah.
Yo, they warn you, don't go near the Zalem, he's nasty, and I was like, I'm gonna save and fight him. I was like, I need to know.
Yeah. So
I think Final Fantasy VII was the first time I was sad during a part of a game, and that was when Ares died. It's the first time I was like, no!
Dude.
Why would you do this?
You know that's like in our generation of like gaming, that's like been rated as like the #1 like gaming moment.
Has
Yeah,
to
I
be.
don't.
Several different publications or something.
I'm sure if you like dig back, like I know even in Final Fantasy V you have a character die,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really have the same impact. So this is the first game where a character of yours dies, and it actually like resounded with that impact, and that's it.
Yeah.
'Cause you only get to be the first one to do it. After that, it's just kind of rehashing that same scene.
Yeah.
So that I think that has a lot to do with it. Like Square just beat everybody else to the punch. They were ahead of the game on that. Yeah. But it wasn't a trope they kept using, because if I remember, nobody died in 6. They had other kinds of emotional plot moments, but I do not remember anyone dying. Although you could kill Shadow if you didn't want to hang out and wait for him. So, I don't know. So, yeah, that was big. You said something, Andrew, about leaving Midgar. That was always one of them moments, because I remember the early game, I was playing, and as I was kind of getting some traction with the game and figuring out how all the pieces fit together, I remember feeling like really confined to Midgar. And I was like, I want to walk out on a world map like in every other Final Fantasy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, this is really long to not be able to. Like most other games, I would have been on the world map a while ago.
Yeah, and
Go ahead.
I think that was, I mean, that's an interesting part of the game, in that they confined you to that for so long. And I think there's some people that really did get, I got frustrated with it too. But then like it also built up the plot, because you realize that at first you're kind of stuck in this city as like a soldier, as Cloud, and then you finally get the chance to branch out and like set upon the world, and you realize that the plot is much bigger than what's happening in Midgar, So I think that played into their story, and like once you finally got out there, it was all the more like, yeah, this is what Final Fantasy is, where I'm roaming on the map and stuff. So as long as you could get through the Midgar part to get to that point, because it took like 5-6 hours, even more of gameplay. So
yeah, it seemed long. I can get through it a lot faster now that I know the path, but that first time through was really long.
Yeah.
And it was funny though, because it just felt like everything opened up after that, and then it was interesting because you had that like freedom to just be a psychopath like Drew and grind for like 40 straight hours outside of the Chocobo Ranch, or you could like move on, and it was like every little place you got to, it was a story beat. So it was like, I found this town, story beat, found the ranch, story beat, found the cave, story beat, like, and it just it kept moving, it kept pulling you along with it, you know, and I guess you could say it's somewhat linear in that respect, but it never bothered me because I was just like, I want to see what happens next. I want to see what happens next. Like it was always compelling me to find that next place.
Yep.
And then when I thought I could skip over one at Cosmo Canyon, my car broke down. Yeah. Anybody else got any memories?
I remember my quest for the golden chocobo. I spent hours and hours running in circles trying to catch chocobos.
You're going to love what I have to tell you later, but we'll save that for the Final Fantasy VII PS4 part of the topic. Stay tuned.
All right.
I remember that time that I mispronounced a character's name on a live broadcast.
Well, I'm sure nobody would say anything to you. They'd have to be a major asshole to call you out on that. That's this guy.
I guess the only other comment I have that I remember quite strongly is in your last fight against Sephiroth. How many times is he able to blow up the world? Like, how did it just reassemble so quickly? I don't.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I don't know. It's not as bad as say like in the Advent Children movie with all the ridiculousness there, but I mean it turned into the Matrix all of a sudden. But we're gonna stay away from Advent Children tonight and stick with the game.
All right.
Shouldn't even bring it up.
I remember how the story like pulled you along into, like you start and like you can easily identify with the story, and then like it continued to have some like twisting and turning, and like then there would be like these interesting like sub themes and like subtext and stuff that would come out at you, and it was a really good story. Like I remember that and feeling like like it was a compelling, like you were saying, you're always looking for the next step in the story until you get to the end. So
yeah, and I had one of my notes here was Sephiroth burning down Nibelheim and the whole story from the flashback.
yeah.
And I remember, because you were saying about the plot kind of taking twists, I always remembered when you got to Nibelheim, and it was like, oh, the whole town is there. So it was like, well, what the hell happened then? Like, I remember thinking, like, this doesn't make any sense. Cloud's story doesn't hold true. And then you kind of find some things out while you're there, and it's like, whoa, this is an even bigger problem than we first thought. Like, like you just thought it was some psychopath killing people, and now it's like, oh, he's planning to just kill all of us.
Yeah.
So I remember that was kind of a turning point for the game. Then after that, it was pretty much just stop Sephiroth, get the black materia,
Mm-hmm.
I remember the part where you actually got to play as Sephiroth, like in the combat scene, you fought as Sephiroth.
So badass.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty epic. It's kind of a good, it kind of gives you an idea of what the final boss, you don't realize it when you're playing that, but then when you beat the game, you're like, wow. I mean, like, I could definitely see how freaking powerful he was back then. So.
Remind me to bring this up, but I want him to be a DLC character in the remake. I don't care if it completely, like, destroys the lore. Like, no. Yeah. Like, you let me play him in the flashback. Let me actually, like, build him up and use him as a character. I don't care that it's broken. I've beaten a game. Let me have fun with it. You know what I mean? I want to be like Sid from Toy Story, like just taking heads off of one thing and putting them on another. And,
Yeah.
So.
I remember, as far as the story goes, I also remember that point in the story where Cloud starts to like question his own sanity, or like you're led to like question, everything that is going on with the main protagonist, and like that was a pretty strong, compelling element of the story too.
Yeah, and I mean Sid and Tifa take over as the leaders of the party for a little while there, So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know about you guys, but if you remember, to find Cloud, he's like off on this like island down in the bottom corner of the map, and they just tell you like find Cloud, and they tell you nothing as far as I recall. Like it's just like you got to find him. And I was like, oh, well, we just hijacked this badass airship, and there's an island over there I haven't been able to get to the whole game. I'll go there first. It's like, oh, hey, Cloud's here. Awesome. That didn't take long at all. But I thought about it, and I was like, dude, there could be people out there who were just quit the game at that point. They're like, where is this guy? I can't find him anywhere. Like they're probably like looking back in Midgar and, stuff like that. You guys have any trouble finding Cloud at all?
Oh no, I think I had a very similar thing with my playthrough.
I can't remember for sure. I think I had a friend that had played through the game. And he hadn't obviously he wasn't spoiling it or anything, but I don't know. I do feel like there were moments of the game where I did get really frustrated with trying to figure out what to do. I can't remember if that was
could be one.
Yeah.
Like figuring out how to get all the pieces. They don't really tell you how to get all the stuff you need to meet Don Corneo at all.
Yeah.
Like they're just kind of like, oh, we need a dress. There's no sign that says dress store.
Yeah, I remember that part.
Yeah, so you just have to go into every place. Like there's a lot of old school game design in there. I'll be curious to see how they resolve some of that in the remake. I don't mind challenging my intelligence in a game, but it is one of them things that's kind of like maybe a sign that said dress store could help. You don't have to point me to it. You don't have to tell me, like, hey, go there. Well, you could put a sign out there so I know, like, oh, dress store, I need a dress. That's probably where I should go.
Yeah. Did anyone else fly into that volcano and just keep when you first were flying, you're like, why can't I go there? Just frustrated me.
I don't remember doing it when you first get it. Yeah, because you go over there and it like repels you away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember kept trying to go there because I can't.
I remember, this is really obscure, but there's an enemy skill called Trine, the lightning triangle, and there's only like 4 chances, I think, to get it in the whole game. So if you want to get all the enemy skills to have Trine, you got to make sure you have all the enemy skill materials by the time you encounter that last one. Well, I had encountered all of them already, but I remember there was an enemy you fought up in the polar area, the North Cave or whatever, past there. And I remember I trekked back through the whole thing, snowboarded down, wandered through the snow, got to the cabin, and went to walk up the path to the next area inside the volcano, mountain, whatever. And the guy would keep coming out of the house and be like, you can't go up there. It's too dangerous. I'd be like, dude, I just did all this work walking all the way back here, and now I can't get to the part where the monster is that has the enemy skill? I was like, who designed this damn game? This is madness. It drove me so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a slight confession.
Okay.
So, like the weapons, so the ruby weapon, emerald weapon.
Okay.
I never beat him. Never did.
To be honest with you, unfortunately, the way most of these super bosses work is you just spam the same thing over and over again. It's very boring. You just do it to do it.
Just look it up on YouTube.
I'm pretty sure. I like tried to beat him several times and got completely pissed off, and then just looked up how to do it and then beat him. So, in the same sense, I probably was even worse than you, Matt, because I just looked up how to do it and then did it. But
they're not the best boss fights in the game. I mean, they are the most challenging. Rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, you've got to do you've got to. I guess you don't have to, but there's a lot of side chain quests you've got to complete in order to beat them. So
I mean, if you're talking about getting the requisite gear, yes, a lot of things
like the materials and gear and whatever. So
yeah, emerald weapon's actually the tougher of the two.
Yeah.
The only thing that really makes ruby weapon tough is that he takes out 2 of the other party members, so you got to fight him solo. But if you grind it out, you can just pretty much laugh at both of them, as long as you don't screw it up. So yeah, they're not. It's not a big deal. You should see them though. They are cool if you haven't ever seen them.
I remember the first time I got the Knights of the Round materia and the I don't know. There's like a duplicate or there's several materia combinations that you can put with it, and it's just
like Quadra Magic, and you got Knights of the Round, and
I remember I got that, and I was just like, this is a face roll, and then you still couldn't completely roll over the emerald weapon because he had that you still had to understand his ability too. Whatever I can't even remember the name of it, but I remember that.
He had the materia beam.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, that was the one thing that could really mess your days up. So. I think I remember the plan was to go in very bare bones with the materia because you took, if I remember, 1,111 damage for every materia you had equipped.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you went in with 10 materia or 9 materia, you were dead. I think that's how it was. It's been a while since I did a emerald weapon prep. I actually have a rollback save on the PS1 that I transferred to the PS3. And I just, whenever I want to fight him, I just roll with that save and just go beat him real quick. So like I don't even remember what the prep work is at this point. I just knights it around, mime, 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 mime. It's pretty boring.
Yeah. But I remember like the first time I got all those combinations, I was like, oh my god, I'm just rolling over everyone now. Like there's no, there's like no challenge left to anything.
But
Because
that's the thing, yeah, because if you
Yeah.
can beat them, the final boss isn't even a challenge.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the downside to fighting them. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a rite of passage. It's just something that's out there if you want to mess around with it.
Yeah.
And the rewards for beating them are lame.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, or no, well, wait. I misspeak. I think you get a bunch of master summit or master materials for beating Ruby, or is it for beating Emerald?
Don't
I
you get?
forget.
Isn't,
You
isn't
get the
that?
you get a gold
like a
chocobo.
final- Isn't there like a final limit break that you get from Ruby Weapon?
No.
No. Okay, maybe not.
Ultimate weapon you do.
Or the Ultimate Weapon. Okay.
Yeah, but that one wasn't particularly tough.
No.
That was just Cloud's ultimate weapon. Yeah. You had to fight Ultima Weapon to get Cloud's ultimate weapon, Ultima Weapon.
Yeah.
Not confusing in any way. Yeah. So here's something I thought was interesting looking back on the game. I don't think this game would get made today. And mainly because you start the game as a terrorist. Like,
Yep.
you, like, think about it. You're taking down the power grid. Like, you're insurgents. Like, like, in
But
the
you're
modern
better
climate. I
kind
don't know.
of terrorist.
But they frame it as if the. I mean, maybe it's just because you're playing it and you just assume that the people you're playing have to be the protagonists, but they frame the Shinra Corporation as a really, like, oppressive,
Yeah.
like, corporation. You have, like, a reason to be an insurgent, I don't know, but...
You do, but it's not quite the way you would think of with the typical oppressive, like, government corporation where everybody hates them. Like,
Yeah.
the sense you get from Midgar is nobody cares. Like,
Yeah.
whatever, we're just trying to get through our lives here, man. Like, so it's not like they're, like, evil and murdering people in the streets and,
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not a good situation in Midgar, don't get me wrong, though. It's just funny how that kind of plays out. And you're a cross-dresser, and like, and they don't exactly handle it delicately at all. You hang out in like I mean, it's practically like Peter Baelish's whorehouse. I mean, they got all kinds of crazy shit going on up in that place. So there's a lot of things that like speak to this game kind of being in a time when you could fly under the radar a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with the JRPGs, because they weren't the most popular genre.
Yeah.
No. Any thoughts?
I don't know.
I mean, there's a lot of games that come out today, like Grand Theft Auto 5 or things like that. So I mean, I definitely like you.
Yeah, but you gotta remember they took the flying out of Grand Theft
I
Auto
think it
3.
probably would be tough, like everything towards the hero being.
What was that, Chris? That was
lost
all
me.
over the place, man.
Hero being gone, I guess. Not gone.
That was
I
like a
guess the
real
internet
like.
dropped out.
Oh yeah, it sounded like somebody had like the Chris app on their Android and it just didn't play well.
I think we need to make this.
That'd be a fail app. No, I'm just kidding.
I'd give it 3 stars.
That's all you need.
Wow, I thought I could offend you by saying that. You suck. All right. I got one more thing on my notes here, my memories of Final Fantasy VII. And we kind of lightly got around to this earlier, but the Nibelheim Mansion. I thought that was one of the more atmospheric points in the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, and everything that was going on in there that was extra, too. I mean, you had the whole thing with the safe. And remember, you had to unlock the safe. You had to find the 4 numbers inside the mansion. Then you had to unlock the safe, but you had to do it, if I remember, on a timer. And you couldn't miss the numbers. And the goddamn number counting system was so finicky. It was so touchy. So it was like real easy to go past the number and mess it all up. Then you had to fight the special boss inside the safe.
Yep.
But then you would get the Oda materia and the key for the basement, so you could get Vincent.
Yep.
And, like, that was weird because it was just like, oh, you have to keep talking to Vincent over and over and over again, even though he's just kind of a dick, you know? And then finally he's like, all right, fine, I'll go with you. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you've been, like, dismissive to me the whole time, and now you're just like, let's hang out. Coffin's not going anywhere. I'll just come back if I don't like it, you know.
And isn't he one of the optional characters? Like, can't you progress the story without actually, like,
Yeah,
having to follow you?
I missed him on my first playthrough and came back, I think, later on disc 2 and got him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, him and Yuffie you can miss, although the game kind of forces Yuffie on you eventually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because you can find her before you get to Junon, but it's kind of like her appearance is based on your level. So on my first playthrough, I didn't get her till I was like almost to Cosmo Canyon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I think I'm probably going to have to replay this game here.
Yeah,
Where we talk about
it. It's some ways it holds up, and others it shows its age.
Yeah.
Any other memories of Final Fantasy VII before we move on?
Does anyone remember the Kate Sith, like where he like I can't remember the exact place, but he like doesn't he die and then someone that is also him come like right after on your ship?
Yeah, at the Temple of the Ancients, he
Yeah.
sacrifices himself so you can get out with the black materia or whatever. Yeah, and then a backup Kate Sith comes. It's like, hey guys, I'm back. It's like, dude, we don't like you. Like, we were only hanging out with you because you made us.
Yeah.
And didn't he like betray
I'd forgotten
like,
about that.
too? Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I just remember that part. Just it just stands out for some reason.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. That whole character was just strange.
Yeah.
It was funny too, because going into the game, that was the guy I most wanted to see. Because I was like, he's friggin' weird. I want to play with that guy. And then I met him. I was like, all right, he's cool. And I played with him for like a half hour, and I was like, this guy's freaking weird. And then he betrayed me, and I was like, I hate this guy. I want to burn him. Like, can I feed him to Bahamut? Like, that would be great.
One thing I remember, or I'm remembering more about, is how Sephiroth was really like the epitome of the badass boss. Like,
Yes.
and like almost like more so now than any that was the game that I remember where I was like, this boss is like, and it's just every time you encountered him, he was like that, and like even when Matt was saying how he like destroys the universe like 13 times in the last boss fight or whatever, and then it just rebuilds itself. But I don't know, I just remember that, and I remember how the like music, even though it was in its MIDI glory or whatever, was still like really good with the game too. I think.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that soon. Sephiroth was just total badass. Like, there's not gonna be a better villain than him. It's just he's got the style, and I liked his character. Like, I was really disappointed with the main villain in Final Fantasy VI, Kefka, because I just thought he was just a boring. It was like, I'm nuts. I want to kill everything. Like, okay, that's like really hollow and just, I don't know, just a shallow villain. And then they came with Sephiroth, who I was like, this guy's interesting because like he was the good guy. Then he kind of found out about his past, and then he started like losing his shit. And then like he actually has like motive, and he tricks Cloud, and like I just like that he seemed like a more complex character than what I had been used to in a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah. Yeah.
One part that I vaguely remember, but I cannot remember the details of it. All I remember is there was a kind of like a village, and I think it was like a sinkhole or something.
Are you thinking of
Happened?
Gungaga,
I think I might. That
where
might
the
sound
where the
familiar.
reactor blew up?
Yes, I think that's it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was interesting because I completely missed that place on my first playthrough. I went right past it and ended up going right to Cosmo Canyon. So I never even saw it on the map. And went back way later, and then the story events were like all out of sequence. It was like weird. Yeah, it was funny. There was nothing that you had to do there, so you could just skip right past it.
Yeah.
Now I know it's there, and I stop there every time because there's materia and stuff there. And a nice boss fight with the Turks.
What was it called again?
Gongaga? I think that was it.
Picture of it here. See if I can find it.
I also remember how there were so many characters in the game that had so much depth to
Yeah.
their like personalities and it was just like an interesting just like conglomeration of randomness basically. Like you got the like Kate Sith and you got the Red 8 or 13. I don't even remember his initials.
Yeah, I can never remember if it's 8 or 13
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
I always rename him. I'm like, we can't do this. You can't have a number in your name, dude. You're killing me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like sometimes I'll just make him red. You know?
I'm surprised no one said anything about your little title there, your subtitle. This guy are sick. Cross-dressing scene.
Well, no, that was just before the cross-dressing scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was when you're heading to Eris's house, and you stop. There's a pipe kind of sticking out into the path a little bit, and you go to walk in, and she says something like, they this guy are sick, and they found him on the side of a road, and he ends up being one of those like the weird dudes who just kind of like bob their head all the time, and they have the number tattoo on them. They're all part of the reunion later. That's like an early glimpse into that, but it makes no sense at the time. But it was just part of the bad translation of the first game. Or, well, of the games of that era.
Yeah.
What?
Somebody about to say something?
Drew was about to say something, but I don't know.
Well, I was gonna bring up that I don't know. I really liked. I know Sid's in all the Final Fantasies, but I really liked his character a lot in this one. I don't know. He was one of the people on my crew. The main fighting force. So.
Yeah, it's funny because he's really abrasive when you first meet him. Like, he is just so deplorable. And I hated him so much that I renamed him Famunda. And then by the end of the game, I kind of liked him. I was like, oh, I get this guy now. Like, it just took a while,
Yeah.
And what were we talking about? Just a minute ago, we were talking about the characters, and I wanted to jump in and say something. Barrett's backstory when you get to the Coral Prison, that was really a great part of the game.
It is. It's one of those things you expect it to be because he just seemed like the badass black character, and then you start diving into his backstory, and it's like, oh, this guy's really fucking cool. Like, there's more to it.
Yeah, it was cool to see how like the Shinra were involved in like everything that like messed his life up back then even.
Yep.
Yeah, I remember. Well, one of the things, so like did you guys? So like when I played the game, I tried to settle on like 4 or 5 characters that like I really invested leveling and time and gearing into as like my core group. But I was wondering, did you guys do that the same, or did you guys try to like level everyone up, or like on your first playthrough?
First playthrough.
I always did a core 4.
Yep.
Hey, that belongs to the Collective Gamescast, sir.
I'm sorry. I had a unique 4.
Well, and like I remember that I had decided I was going to have Eris in my
Oh
my core group. And so, like, I remember when I got to that point, like, I was like, yeah, you know, I think I was gonna do like Cloud and Eris, and I mean, obviously, there's some characters that you don't
There is sometimes like the swap out character.
swap out character.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for Barrett's story, you gotta,
Yeah.
use Barrett and stuff like that.
yeah. And then like then I suddenly was thrust upon this notion that I put all this time into a character that I wasn't going to be able to actually beat the game with, and I was like that was what really, I think that was what really impacted that moment, you know, where she actually does die, and like remembering, you know, like the first time I played through, I had no idea it was going to happen, and like because I had put I felt like I'd put like 30 hours of gameplay into, you know, working with that character, and then all of a sudden, well, you know, tough luck, that's part of the story now, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I think that was interesting, you know, and I wonder if like that moment had the same weight for people that didn't put as much time into leveling the character, you know, like how that would impact, or if it's, you know, I mean, obviously it's a moment in the story that I think everyone, you know, identifies as a surprise or like gaming moment, but
Well, what hurts the worst is that she's such a beast of a caster, and you don't have another character who's that good at it.
Yeah.
It's like anybody else. Anybody else.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
They do a really good job of getting you like attached to that. I mean, that particular character and some other ones, but I think that was probably the reason why, you know, her death really kind of impacted for me. Was like, you know, all the different things were like, you know, you got to choose between her or Tifa, and you know, just I don't know. I just felt like they did a good job kind of leading up to that to make it more impactful.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the did you do the date night with Eris?
Yeah.
Eris?
I've done it with all of them except Yuffie. I've never done that one.
On your first playthrough.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. If you understand the mechanics of this, how it works, there's like a counter going. When the game starts, Eris has a huge bonus to it. And then Tifa has like a moderate bonus. So
you've got to like...
It's kind of leaned towards, if you don't play to any specific person, that you'll just end up with Eris. And that if
Which
you
obviously sets you up for the...
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point I was getting.
Yeah.
If you did that with Eris, then her death was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. The best is the date with Barrett is the best.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that moment when he asks you to go out with him is just so awkward.
Oh shit! What just happened?
Yeah, actually, and that moment was like, I think the only time in a video game where like I actually got like weepy emotional over a video game. Like,
Chris, we got to do video games that made you cry.
Yep.
That's a good one.
That's got to be a good one.
Bring your tissues, people. It's happening.
And like I remember, and like, yeah, I was in middle school or whatever, and probably more emotional, I guess, than I am now. But like, I remember that, and I was like, God dang it, because they do a really good job of making it a moment that you remember emotionally too. So
I just never understand when nobody tries to use Phoenix down. They don't even try. They're just like, oh, she's dead.
Dead.
I mean, I get it. Like, you know, she took like a 8-foot sword through the gut. That's generally good enough to get the job done. But you could have tried. We have like 20 of them in inventory. Just use one. Yeah. No, that whole scene, though, man, for the limited capabilities they had at the time, they really they found a way to still kind of hit you in the gut.
Yeah. I think Jesse's was pretty bad too.
Yes, that's a great point, man. That because like they kind of like hinted that a little bit with her, and then an hour later they kill her.
Yep.
It's like, God damn it.
Damn.
And even Wedge, that fat little bastard, like, you know. Because, like, he has the worst, because the other ones, like, get shot and they're just hanging out to die. But, like, he falls from the top of the damn pillar, like, falls, like, 300 feet, and he still lives long enough to say, like, I was finally useful or something. You remembered my name, and that was it. You remembered my name, and, you know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, dude, like, you need to come with the party. You just fell 300 feet and you're alive. Like, you're tougher than me. Oh, man. Yeah, well, we'll kind of get to this a little more with the Final Fantasy VII Remake stuff, but I want to, I'm curious to see how they're going to develop that plot out with those, you know, Biggs, Wedge, and Jesse, and see if they get some more screen time.
I wonder. And then the voice acting might kill it too. That's another thing.
Yeah, well, we'll see. The Wedge one looks pretty rough.
Yep.
Oh, the casino. I remember that.
Gold Saucer, yeah.
Yeah. First time I played, I missed the materia that was in there. I forget what it was now.
Oh, I don't
I
remember.
don't remember.
I know there's like some stuff you can get from the games and all, but I don't remember
Yeah,
specifically.
This
if
was
there's
something
one
that
to
it
pick up.
was just kind of like stashed off in a corner, and you had to like walk over there and hit the pickup button to get it.
Huh.
Not ringing a bell. I do remember that. What is it? Is it Ramu materia? After you're done at the Coral Prison, you come back up the lift into the casino, and you're in like the jockey's lounge. And if you don't grab it right then, that's it. You're beat.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because that really sucks if you miss that. There's so many missable materias in the game, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
And items. Like where they stashed Barrett's ultimate weapon.
Yeah.
Like, it's not visible on the screen anywhere. You just got to hit X in the right spot, and it's a one-time area. And it's just so frustrating, because with random encounters and all, it's so easy to forget to hit X and grab it. Yeah. Anybody remember? Well, Drew, I know you'll remember this. Grinding in the battle arena to get the Omni Slash limit break. Just spending hours in there.
Oh yeah.
The worst.
But once you got it, you're like, yeah.
Yes. the reward is worth the work, but man, is it work.
Yeah. I remember growing up, and Drew and I were good friends since middle school. And I remember when we were playing the game or like playing other RPGs, like he's always the one that was like over grinding before he like progressed the story, and I was the person that's like, I'm just gonna do as much as I need to do to beat the game. Like, and you know, it's like it's different mindset and different philosophy about the game, but I remember like so many times where I would just like try to push the bosses and just die because I wasn't ready. And I would just go and I would train just a little bit, and I would go try again and I'd just die again. And I was like, God dang it, I got to keep leveling up here, But I thought that was like, did you guys where did you guys fall on that spectrum? Were you guys like ones that were like over prepare, or were you just like going into the boss fights and just figuring out if you were ready or not, and then reevaluate?
The first time through, I think I remember switching characters around a lot, so I would fight a few extra random battles here and there just to kind of get guys up to speed a little bit. I know now that when I play through, because I know where like everything is, I'm always under leveled because I'm always just pushing right to the next thing. Yeah. So now when I play, the challenge goes up because I'm always worried about the minimum level you can be when you get somewhere.
Yeah.
I think another memorable moment was when I think you're in a prison. I think it's the Shinra building, and you exit out, and you see how much shit Sephiroth did. Like, god damn.
Yeah, he wrecked shop through that place, man.
Dude. That was
bodies everywhere, man.
Yep. Oh man.
Was that when you're with Shinra later in the game, or was it?
No, that's
early. Okay.
With the Eris rescue mission.
Yeah. I remember, like, there's just so many, like, great things about the story. Like, you go and you explore the world, and then you end up, like, back in Midgar again. And, like, I think that added a really unique...
Oh, yeah, the parachute drop back
Yeah.
into Midgard towards the
Yeah.
end of the game. That was awesome. Yeah, there's the highway chase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That classic scene of Cloud smashing through the Shinra building windows with the motorcycle. Like,
Yeah.
just, oh, man.
Wasn't it like snowboarding down the mountain too? That was.
Yeah, cool borders in Final Fantasy VII, man. Yeah, it's oh man, there's just so many great moments.
So, like, they remastered it for the PS4, right? And you're playing that through that right now? Is
Yeah,
that...
you know what? Okay, we'll jump ahead to this a little bit because I had a couple notes here for it. So it's not it's not like the remaster, like the remake that they're doing. It's kind of a polished PC version of Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
It'll have to look good on your TV, kind of a deal.
Yes, because the textures look a lot better than they do. Because I was playing it on the PS3 with my disc version from the PS1, and it was all like blurry and grainy, and they've really smoothed out the textures and the fonts and everything. So everything looks really good. And my son was like freaking out about how good it looked. I was just kind of like, the character models look good, the backgrounds look the exact same. And they didn't like add any pixels or anything, so they still have those chunky, blocky kind of looks. They just smoothed out like the resolution. So like now you're not getting all, because it was designed for different kinds of TVs back then.
Yeah.
So like it's fixed now, so it looks the way it should on an HD TV.
Did they change the soundtrack on the PS4 remake, or?
It is the PS1 music, thank God.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, because I was worried about that because it was the PC version, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks smoother, but then they added some features. So there's some cheats. And what's important to note for all you trophy hunters out there is that the cheats do not stop you from getting trophies. So they're just there for people to have fun with on a replay. So the first one is 3x speed. So the game runs at 3 times speed, which lets you just plow through exploration, or Drew would love it for grinding random battles. Or Matt, you would love it because you can do chocobo races 3 times faster now. Get that golden chocobo in like an hour, right? Their second thing they added was no encounters. So
That's kind of nice.
yes, because when I was replaying, there's one part of the game I really despise, and it's the train graveyard after you come up from the sewer. Because in the train graveyard, there's these stupid ghost enemies, and if you hit them, they disappear, and then you can't target them again, or you can, but you do no damage until they reappear. So I was like, you know what? I'm not fighting these bastards, and I turned on no encounters and went right through the train graveyard in like 2 minutes. And I was like, this is so great. Like, don't have to fight those stupid things because they're just annoying and it takes long. And
Yeah, I remember hating them too.
yeah.
Because that's the area where like you're running across the top of old
Yes.
train cars and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was good to just get right through there and not have to deal with that. The third thing they added was God mode. And so when you turn this one on, your hit points and magic points always stay full, and so does your limit break bar. So if you just want to have fun crushing stuff with your limit breaks, or if you want to turn it on for a battle or two, use a bunch of limit breaks to unlock the next one, you can do that. So I played around with that, unlocked everybody's second limit break, then turned it back off, and so that's cool because that's going to make limit break grinding a lot easier,
Is the PS4 port similar to the PC one then, or is it?
It is the PC port. You can't tell the difference too much since they fixed the music. The one thing you'll notice though is that there's a quit option. So in the main menu under save there's quit, and there wasn't in the PS1 version. So I would always hit up, and then it would jump from the top of the list down to the bottom, and I would hit save. Well, now I keep doing that, and it keeps saying quit. Are you sure you want to quit? I'm like, no, I don't want to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And
funny.
it has, instead of the memory card 1 and 2, it has the 10 different save slots. So and then once you go into each save slot, there's blocks for saves. So you can have like I'm save 1 and my son is save 2, and somebody else could be save 3, or you can have different runs. So
But
Drew can have like this is my grind run is save file 1, and then his save file 2 could be like I used no encounters. This is going to be hard.
That would be very interesting for me. Just play the game with
no encounters. I wonder if it's even possible to beat the game with no encounters.
It would be really hard to level up.
Yeah, because yeah.
Don't you need encounters to get who is it? Yuffie?
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have to turn it off for a minute to get her. But if you're not leveling up, it's going to be hard to find her.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure it's tied to your level. It could be your story progress, but I always thought it was your level is the determining factor.
Yeah.
So as you level up, the odds of her appearing get higher.
I think that's
Okay.
when I would grind a lot. I think I got her almost right away, so I think that's true.
Yeah, no, because you can get her before Junon. You just walk around in the forests or something for a while, and she might just appear.
Remember when she backstabs you? Or, or
Oh, I got a good story about this. So, the Malgadar's a dumbass. And the first time he got the tiny Bronco in Rocket Town and was stuck in the ocean, he went the wrong way. He didn't go to the Temple of the Ancients. He went to Wutai. And then he had all his materia stolen from him. And then he was trapped in a quest that was meant for way later in the game with no materia. So, you want to talk about hard? That was really hard. I still can't believe I got through that.
I feel like I ended up in the same thing.
Yeah, that's a bad time in the game to get stuck there too.
But I think I like didn't overwrite my save, so I just like quit and went back to where like I realized the mistake I had made, and then just like.
Lucky you, man.
I'm not dealing with this because I hadn't saved over it yet. So, like, yeah. But I remember that because it's right where you're like you either go to the like you said you go to the temple or you go. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, I don't know, I've always been one of those guys that keeps multiple save files too. Myself. Because I make a lot of boneheaded mistakes, or I get glitched. Like when I was playing through like other like Knights of the Old Republic, I would just get super glitched out, and there's like if I hadn't saved, I would have been flipping my controller and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, PS4 version of Final Fantasy VII, I am having a lot of fun with it, just messing around with those cheats in certain spots. Especially the 3X, because you can really plow through it a lot faster with that. Especially spots where I'm not really interested in the dialogue, 'cause I'm like, I remember every line of this dialogue. Let's go. Let's get to the next thing.
Does the airship have updated textures?
I have not gotten to the airship yet, so I can't say.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even know what the world map looks like yet. I'm still in Midgar.
Ah.
I just started it today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long does the base game take to beat if you play at a reasonable pace? It's like a 30-hour game, isn't it?
Yeah, you could probably do it in 30 to 40 hours. I mean, if you're not going after like Knights It Around and all the side stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, with this 3X thing, you might be able to do it a little quicker. Yeah.
Just thinking about like.
With God mode, you could just play it for the story and no encounters. You could pretty much just do a straight story run. It might take you a little while to chop down the bosses, but they can't kill you, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Funny.
So, yeah, it opens up some interesting stuff. It's fun to have new ways to kind of tweak the game after so many playthroughs.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, like I actually, like there were very few games that I always seemed to have like a short attention span, and there were very few games in like my middle school years that I actually like beat. I just maybe didn't have the attention to do it, or didn't have the patience, or whatever. But like, I remember the Final Fantasy VII was one of the ones that I beat. Final Fantasy IX I beat, and like 10 I beat. And I remember like
Well, how'd you skip 8?
I just didn't finish 8. I don't know. I didn't play it as
Aw.
much. But
You just said he had attention span problems, Chris.
Yeah.
Disappointed, man. Disappointed.
So like,
I think 8 was one that I had trouble finishing too.
Chris, you got to remember too, because one of the things a lot of people struggle with 8 was that the enemies leveled up with you.
Yeah.
So the challenge is always there in 8. There. You know what's interesting though? You're saying about the short attention span and hanging in there with the games. If you think about it, Final Fantasies were very different from other games of their time. Back then, because think about what a lot of the games were. They were like Mario, like, play it, finish it, play it, finish it. Then World came out and they kind of changed that with the save feature. Then you had like your Contras and your Mega Mans and your sports games, and they were all just like sit down, play it, beat it, sit down, play it, come back later, like. But none of them were like giant quests like outside of Zelda.
yeah.
It was just the role-playing games. They were so much longer than everything else that was out there back then. Now it's kind of come around a bit because now you got like action adventure games that take like 20 hours or so to beat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you've got the games that you don't really beat.
Yeah.
They're the ones that I tend to play at the moment, but.
Yeah. Well, you don't beat Bloodborne. Bloodborne beats you. No, but what's funny? We're talking about old school games because I put this note here that this was really like right in the pinnacle of Square's like golden era because they did Final Fantasy VI, they did Chrono Trigger, they did Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy Tactics, Final Fantasy VIII, Chrono Cross, Final Fantasy IX, and Final Fantasy X.
Damn.
In like maybe like I think about a 7-year window.
Yeah, and those were all really good
from
games.
like 94 to 2001.
Yeah.
That's monstrous. Like, the only other franchise I could think of with that many consecutive good games is Mario.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, there's even some duds in the Zelda franchise, as far as I'm concerned. So, but maybe you would throw that in there. But I mean, that's a lot of like really classic games in a row to throw out there. So they were just firing on all cylinders right at this point. And I don't know, I was thinking of it like this, because what's that? That's like 8 straight great games right there.
Mm-hmm.
But imagine a musician who put out 8 straight amazing, like top tier albums. Like people would lose their shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And speaking of music, I'm not having a Final Fantasy VII episode without talking about the music in Final Fantasy VII, which one of you guys mentioned earlier. But
I mentioned it earlier.
Yeah, you could immediately tell, even though it was still MIDI stuff, that this was just a whole nother level that they had hit with the music now with the better technology. Because, I mean, this is one of Uematsu's masterpieces right here. I mean...
Wasn't that one of your, or Andrew? Wasn't that on like your gaming playlist? Like you would have that as you would play another game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember walking in and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's at least 3 or 4 pieces from Final Fantasy VII, and like I'll still like listen like one of the like Eris's theme, like that's still one of the like I think. In my mind, one of the best crafted like video game songs that I've ever heard, as far as like how it fits with the story and like how it really is an emotional song if you identify it with what it was, where it was in the story. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so many seminal tracks from this soundtrack. I mean. I think the one that maybe sticks out the most to me is One Winged Angel the Sephiroth song, because
Oh,
I know a lot of people say that's probably the best piece Uematsu ever wrote. I don't know about that, but damn if it ain't impressive.
Yep, that one, I remember that one too.
Yeah, there's like some YouTube videos out there too of him like performing it with a full orchestra with the Black Mages, and
Oh,
it is,
man.
wow, yeah, that shit'll give you goosebumps, man. It's just, you know, so
And there's
I
some
don't know.
good variety too. I mean, like there's the like
There's like that funky Midgar song with that
Yep.
like bass line. You got Kate Sith theme, which is weird as hell. You know,
saucer,
yeah, Gold Saucer. I mean, it feels like a theme park. Like
and then
the
you got
music,
the like Jehovah theme or whatever.
yeah, Genova. All the
Genova.
Genova themes are
Yeah.
wicked. The boss battle theme with the guitar riff starting it off. You know, the music sets the stage for every moment of this game.
Yeah.
You know, like the world map theme. The world map theme gives me goosebumps to this day. Like, and it's great when I watch my son play and he just sits on the world map just so he can listen to the song, and I'm like, yeah. Like, he hears it, he gets it. Like, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
You know? And then he gets mad at me. He's like, Dad, I hate when they change the world map song in disc 2. I was like, me too. Me too.
Yeah, and I remember when you mentioned the One-Winged Angel, I remember you play through the whole game with the same like boss theme, or like
Yeah,
or like
just
well, like
about
there's a
every-
few similar ones, right? There's the
Well,
ones.
I think it's pretty much every boss has the same music except for the Genovas, which do have their own unique tracks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then you get to the One-Winged Angel one, and you're just like, all right, this is it.
Yeah, like it really adds that epicness to that final showdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they do that with a lot of it. Like, I think they did that with like Final Fantasy IX too, and like Final Fantasy X. Like,
Uematsu is just so far ahead of everybody else with his compositions.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he just, it's amazing what he is able to do. Like how, I mean, because imagine what that's like. Like Sakaguchi-san just like walks in and he's like, hey, I need a sad song for this moment. And Uematsu's like, all right, I got it. Not a problem. Masterpiece. Here you go. Like, and the crime of it is when you listen to other people who try to do music, you know, for the Final Fantasy games or other games, and it's just like you just realize how special he is because his compositions are so deep but so simple too. You know, like other people who try to make a complex composition similar to his, it ends up too busy. There's too much happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has this beautiful understanding of how to layer his music properly in a way that there's all these different things going on, but they're very subtle. You know, it's great. It adds so much to every moment of the game.
When did he start
With
composing for Final Fantasy? Was it
with one?
with
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Yeah, all the Final Fantasy music up through 11 is his.
Okay.
damn.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
10 he has some help. There's a couple other composers on there with him on 10. But you could still hear a lot of pretty much all his influence, and then there's some work on the side with the other guys. He did 11, from what I recall, and then 12 they went with Hitoshi Sakamoto, who is really good. He's not Uematsu good, but I like his work, especially on Final Fantasy Tactics, was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And he's good. And then he did 13, and then they went with it might have been Matsuno for the following Final Fantasy games. Yeah, because Uematsu and Sakaguchi are still working together with Mistwalker.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So 15 will come out, and that'll be someone new as well, right? They're gonna
Yeah.
go with the same guy. Okay.
Yeah, it seems I really want Square to just back the money truck up and be like, dude, just make the music. Like, we're sorry things ended bad, but make the damn music, please. They won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They already said he's not doing the music for the remake. And since I brought up the remake, let's get into it, because this is like the last chunk of the discussion here. Yeah, so Uematsu-san is not doing the music for FF7 Remake.
Are they gonna do new music then, or are they gonna use some of his old music and some new music, or like?
Here's the hope. When they redid Final Fantasy X, they remastered the soundtrack, and they butchered it. And then they originally released it for PS3 and PS Vita. When they released it for PS4, they added the option to switch back to the original soundtrack. So my guess is they heard the complaints and put it back in. They put the original. You could pick. You can do the original or the remastered. So what I'm hoping is that they learn from that people are real sensitive about messing with the music, and that they just kind of take the music and just kind of redo it and touch it up just a little bit. No drastic changes.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I'm okay with modernizing it a bit, but don't go messing with it.
Yeah.
The stuff we heard in the latest trailer for the game with the gameplay footage and all sounds like they got it. That's not exactly a large sample size, but it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Because I heard the music and I was really paying attention to music, and I was like, this is right. Like, this is exactly what I want. It sounds like a modernized version of the classic songs.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but so far it looks okay. Yeah. We all watched the trailer from PSX before the show started, so we saw that. Any thoughts on that?
Can we watch it again?
We could, but that YouTube app is being finicky, and with 5 of us in here, I think that's part of the problem. It's choppy. We could give it a shot if you want to try to. Somebody wants to share it out here.
Let's see what we can do here.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Anybody else notice that Barrett kind of looks like Blade?
Yeah, you know what? I kind of see that. They added the sunglasses, so that's a bit different. I like it, though. It works.
It's all
I was
right
too
with me.
busy staring at the shiny Buster Sword.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Looks beautiful.
Sign off for that? Oh,
Maybe when he was going on the set, he was worried about the lens flare. It was a J.J. Abrams bit, He was like, I got my shades, I'm good.
oh man.
Yeah, from what I can tell, I was listening to the music that time, and from what I could tell, I think if that's how it is for the whole game, I think that's good.
Oh, I will be so happy if that's what the whole game is. I mean,
Yeah.
total nerd boner for that, man. Yeah.
And I will, and it'll be interesting. So, like, it seems that the big thing will be, you're more immersed in the 3D world. The graphics are better. The combat system is different.
How great did the streets of Midgard look running around out there?
Yeah.
That and having him like crawl and
Yeah.
slide. I was like, oh shit, they added that?
Yeah, that's kind of neat because that'll make traversing like environments a bit different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hope it's not a ton of that, but it's an interesting little thing that sucks you into the world if you throw it in there every so often. You know, like if I'm walking around that like blown up reactor in Gagaga, like, and I gotta like climb over this and crawl under that, like
That's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I've played so like from my understanding, it's going to be just like a live battle, like seamlessly integrated with the world. And like I've played that in Final Fantasy, I think 12 is where they started that, and
kind of
that. And like I thought that was fine.
Actually, the better representation of that would be the Final Fantasy 15 episode Dusky.
Okay.
Yeah, that is. It looks like pretty much the same battle system almost has been ripped out of that.
Yeah, a lot of when I was watching it for the first time, I because I played through the demo for 15, and a lot of things remind me like when he's crawling through that, crawling through the along the wall and things like that, and the combat system definitely, has a lot of flair from the 15 demo.
Yeah, and much like the 15 demo, it has a guy with a whiny voice.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. I love you, Wedge. Why you got? They always overdo the accented voices,
Yeah.
It just needs to be a little different. It doesn't have to be crazy different,
But yeah, I'm excited enough about that game that I will find a PS4 that I can play it on.
Party at my house. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
That means I have to buy one.
I get this feeling Chris is going to be like, yeah, dude, you want to hang out? And that comes out. Like, you want to hang out? You want to hang out?
Yeah.
Right. God, there's so many things going on in that trailer that I'm in love with right now, though. Just I don't know, like I was saying earlier, seeing Wedge and Biggs and Jesse and, all getting screen time and getting voice acted. Like, they didn't just gloss over them, it looks like, Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to say about the trailer?
Let's watch it again. No, I'm just kidding.
After the show, we'll do it again. Yeah. Okay.
And they said next year. Is that their target for that?
Here's the thing, and this was the big news after PlayStation Experience that came out. It's going to be episodic releases.
Yep.
And this is the one that's causing like there's kids setting themselves on fire over this, So, as usual, the immediate knee-jerk overreaction. It's been about almost a week now, so, did anybody just find out about this for the first time?
You mean the episodic thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually hadn't heard about that.
Yeah,
Okay.
neither.
Okay, you two can chew on that for a minute. Me and Drew and Chris can get this little thing started. So, Chris, what do you think about the episodic releases?
I don't like it.
Okay.
I just want the game all at once. If it's like you buy the game and then the next episodes are all free with just like as DLC, you don't have to pay for it. Perfectly fine. If you have to pay for each episode, I don't like that.
Okay, Drew, your thoughts on the episodic releases?
Well, I mean, like with most like episodic things, like Resident Evil Revelations 2, for example. I mean, they let you buy the whole thing if you want to, and you just get it when they come out. I'm sure they'll do something like that, and then they'll eventually release it on disc. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily the best way that they could release it, but at this point, I will take it however they want to serve it.
Any port in a storm, right?
And it's gonna force some people to maybe level grind. They're gonna.
Well, you know what?
They could do it decent enough where where they release it and they cut things off, but we'll have to see.
That's a good point, because I don't level grind. Like, it's too tedious. So this might force me to actually do that.
It makes
All
the
right.
game a lot better in my opinion, but that's just me.
Okay, you got something to say, Andrew?
I got a gut reaction after I
Okay.
chewed on it for a bit, and I think it's
Put the
a
gasoline
disaster.
down. Put the gasoline down. It'll be okay.
I think it's terrible because part of what I loved about the game was getting completely like engrossed in the story and then just playing it for like, you take like 3 weeks and that's the game that you focus on and you beat the game. And like, so now if it comes out in like 4 episodes or however many they're gonna split it into, you play like part of it and then it's time to go play a different game because it's gonna be another 2 months before the next part of the story comes back out. And I don't know. I think if you're trying to like remake a game and like the main appeal for it is for everyone to like re-experience their game that they played growing up. Like you should put it in the same like timing as the game growing up. I don't know. That's my thought on it. But.
I agree with that. But this also gives them time to actually release something, and then, like, as they're releasing it, they're still working on tweaking the last whatever episodes they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that.
Okay, Matt, you want to say something? Because when I get started, this shit's just gonna start flying out.
Yeah, the episode-wise, I never really liked that idea. I've always liked either it's you pay monthly or you buy all the game at once. I don't like the having to pay more to add stuff on to the game I already have. But besides that, the thing I would be worried about is, I really enjoyed I guess Final Fantasy was the first open world kind of game I ever played. And will the episodes limit that? Like, will I not be able to go to half the map until the next one's open? Because, the developers are still working on that part of the game. Like, that would be upsetting to me.
Well,
I can envision a Midgar episode that they like start with.
Yeah, a lot of people have been speculating that is going to be episode 1 is Midgar.
Yeah.
But let me counter you with this. It might not be Midgar the way we remember it.
Yeah.
Like, there could be a lot more to it. Like, think about this. Early in the game, right, you make the raid on the number 5 reactor. Excuse me. And after that, you get split up. Tifa and Barrett survive the explosion. Cloud falls down into the church, meets Aerith, right? You continue the story as Cloud and Aerith. Now they're going to have a chance to go back and say, well, not only do you get to do that, but you also get to go back and see what happened with Barrett and Tifa. Because remember, when you meet up with Tifa at Don Corneo's, she says, when we were on our way back to the hideout, we met this guy and we shook him down for information. There's a quest there. Like, there's something there that sets up why Tifa ended up at Don Corneo's. My guess is you're going to have an opportunity to play through that side of it, too. So, like, this is an opportunity for them to expand and develop that world more. And they already said they want to make changes. Like, they said they don't just want to they don't just want it to be the rehashing of the old game. They want to take the opportunity to make it more than what it was, too, So I'm interested in that because I'm like, well, what kind of cool stuff can you throw in there that we didn't get a chance to do the first time? Like, we only saw Sector 6 slums, right? We didn't even see the rest of it. And we saw Sector 7, a very small part of it, Like, there's so much to Midgar. Like, how much more is out there that we could go check out and explore and side quest in,
Okay, I can see that being pretty good. Yeah.
Here's the other thing. When do you want to play this game?
What do you mean?
Like, when do you want to play it? Because if you've been listening to Square for the past 15 years, all they've been saying is the amount of money it would cost to remake this game is astronomical, and they can't do it. So releasing episodically if I guess, I'm gonna guess it's gonna be three $60 parts.
Yeah.
So yeah, that are gonna be spread out though. I mean, you're talking like a year or two between each release probably. So this is what's going to help them fund the astronomical development, you know. And if that's the case, I'm good with it because I've been saying forever I will pay you a ton of money just remake the damn game. So I gotta put my money where my mouth is now. I said I will pay more than a standard game to get this thing I want. Like just make it happen, and then tell me what it costs. So if this is a $180 venture, I'm down. And I get to finance it, you know, like, okay, this works.
Depends on how much they add. I think that's the key. I don't know if $60 worth of stuff is going to be nice for a third of the game.
They were quoted as saying each game will be a full game's worth of content.
Okay.
What that means is kind of murky.
Yeah.
But if I had to guess, let's think about this, right? Final Fantasy 13. You got 13, you got 13-2, and then you got Lightning Returns.
Yep.
Right? So they took Final Fantasy 13 and turned it into 3 games to maximize the development costs. Right? So they did 3 games on the same engine, got their money out of it, right? My guess is this is the same thing, except it's just going to be one game. It's going to be Final Fantasy VII Part 1, Final Fantasy VII Part 2, Final Fantasy VII Part 3.
And there will be, I assume there will be continuity between, like, the character progression and whatnot.
It would seem likely. I highly doubt they're going to scrap the materia system because everybody loves the shit out of it. So
yeah,
I'm sure that's going to stay. I'd be really surprised if they got rid of that. So, I think the other thing that'll be interesting about this. Let's go on a little endeavor here. You release episode 1, right? It comes out. People are like, oh, I like this, but this part of the combat system's broken, doesn't work, or I don't like this character's voice, or, you know, there will be the obvious complaints, and there will be millions of them because there's no way to do this right. And here's the thing, though. Now you have time before the second release. You have an opportunity to fix things, you know? And if you see, Square's been listening to the fans a lot more lately because when they did the episode Duske demo for Final Fantasy 15, everybody complained about the one voice actor. And they said, guys, don't worry about it. We're getting a different voice actor for the final version. We hear you. We're going to fix it. So there's going to be an opportunity here for them to see what's working, what's not, and fix that going forward. So instead of doing the whole thing and then being like, oh, shit, people didn't like it. Too late. We already did it. It's done. Like, you know, they can actually learn from what happens with episode 1 and kind of say, okay, this is what people like. We got to do more of that. This is what people didn't like. This is what we got to figure out how to make better. You know, except they actually get to do it as part of the same game.
Yeah. I still like. I just don't. I mean, it depends on how much story they add, how much gameplay they add. But like, I still can't envision being happy with playing through part 1 of the game and then getting stopped. You know, and the ability to like re-experience the story because the rest of the game isn't out.
Well, here's the bigger issue, I think. Right? You finish episode 1, and then 2 years goes by, and here comes episode 2. Well, where was I? Who was I leveling up? You know, what were my moves? What was my specialty? You know, why does this person have that weapon equipped? I don't know why I equipped them with that. Like, that's the one thing you're gonna lose by breaking it out. You know.
And you're gonna lose part of the story too, because I mean, 2 years later, you're not gonna remember as much of the story as you would if you just played the whole game in the span of a month. You know.
I think what would be really good is before they release episode 2, say like a month out, drop a demo for the beginning of episode 2 that you could save your progress at the end, so when it comes out you can just continue right on. You know, this gets people a chance to, 1, jump back into the game and remember what the hell was happening. Add a story recap to it of what happened in episode 1. You know, you could do some rehash some of the cinematics and stuff if you wanted to. And then it also gets people back in. It gets them back invested into it. Like, oh yeah, remember how hype I was when that first one came out? I can't wait. The next one's right around the corner. So it'll be a chance to kind of get everybody like, hey, come on, time to come back. We're getting ready to come out.
Here's the characters you had. Here's what equipment you had.
What would be great is if right on episode 2, it just boom, puts you right back at the same party from episode 1 by reading your save data. So at the least you got that much continuity. And you're kind of like, okay, I was playing with, Cloud and Red and Barrett. I'm ready to go now. I'll figure the rest out, but at least I'm good to go.
I don't know, man. Whenever I play games like that, like any game where I have to save, any RPG where I'm saving, and if I put it down for a little bit, and I try to come back, let's say like a week or two later, I'm lost as shit.
That's exactly my worry about it.
It is annoying, but you figure it out. And you fight through it, and you get your rhythm back.
Now, usually if it's like not an important character, it's like, fuck it, I'll just start a new one, and then just play through it that way. It's going to throw me off.
I'd almost rather they remake the entire game, charge me $150 for it, and I'll buy it. if they give me a demo, give me like a demo that like makes me legitimately interested in it, it's like they give you the first like 30 minutes for free, or like like the first 30 minutes of story or an hour of story for free. And you can like get into the gameplay and like okay, I'm doing this, and then that there's like another 100 hours of story instead of like 40. I'll pay $150 and I'll play the whole thing. But I understand that they have some, like you were saying, financial reason to split it up to fund the whole thing. So I guess I can see that, but it's just frustrating.
Well, let me pitch it to you another way. Who wanted this? Like, who wanted this remake made?
Me.
Okay.
All the
all the gamers aged like 24 to 32, 35.
Okay. Maybe it's some of the younger ones who keep hearing the myth but can't play that ugly ass looking old game.
Yeah.
It doesn't have voice acting. Like, what? I have to read? Like, can Siri read it to me? Like, all right. Anyway, let me shift your perspective.
I was gonna say the funny thing about the reading is I don't remember the reading. I just remember what people said.
I know, isn't that weird?
I had to like go back and look at screenshots to remember. Like, oh yeah, I had to read this game.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so what I was about to say was let's take a trip back in time. So we're going back a year ago today. So we're going December 11th, 2014. Okay? If I'd have told you can have Final Fantasy VII Remake, but you're going to have to take it in episodes, would you have taken that deal?
Yeah.
Well, because they weren't even talking about it then. So it's like, all right, dude, just make it.
Yeah, I would have said fine. No hesitation at all. As soon as the words were out of his mouth, I'd been like, yes, done. Do it. Don't care. Just fucking make this happen, please. I've been yelling for 15 years. Just do it. I'm good. I'll figure it out later. I can get over it.
Yeah.
So
when did the game release? 96?
97, I believe.
7? Okay.
Yeah, I think it was September of 97.
Okay.
Yeah, if somebody wants to Wikipedia that, you could. I believe it was 95 in Japan, and then it took them till 97 to get it out over here.
Okay.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, that was kind of one of the things I thought about when I got angry about the episodes. I was kind of like, if they'd have told me this was one of the provisions to getting the thing I've wanted forever, I would have said yes. So I told myself to stop being a whiny bitch and just be glad you're getting it. Yeah. So. Yeah. So we kind of touched on some of this, but I did want to just say kind of like, what are your hopes for the remake, and what are some of your fears for the remake?
Fears, obviously, episodes. But my hopes is that they actually add enough into the story that actually doesn't change the main storyline, still keeps true to it, but actually adds some depth into the world. And I think, I mean, that's a pro. If they do episodes, then hopefully they'll do it that way. So there's more to it. I would appreciate that.
Oh, hang on one second, Chris. So somebody was nice enough to share the Wikipedia page, and I had misspoke about the 95. It was January 31st, 97 in Japan, and September 7th, 97 for the North American regions. So
Okay.
I had that right, but yeah. So, okay. So, yeah. Hopes, fears, anybody else?
Anytime they make a remake, or you just hope that they, like that they do it right. And I was really afraid of that the voice actor, who played, Wedge, and a game that doesn't have voice acting, to add it in. Like I know that I thought they did a good job with all the other ones except for, a couple. But what you said about the 15 demo, that they actually said they were going to replace the actor, from people, saying that and listening to fans. I think I like that they're listening to the fans a lot more. And I think that'll kind of overcome some of the, the things that I'm afraid of them just screwing up and just changing too much or doing something that, totally ruin the whole remake. But I don't know. I know I'm going off on a little tangent here, but hardcore fans would probably understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this is like the holy grail of Final Fantasy games. And maybe in a lot of ways a PlayStation. I mean, it's kind of like Cloud and Nathan Drake are the characters you think of when you think of PlayStation. So, I mean, this is a tough project because you can't really win. No matter what you do, people are always going to nitpick this one. So
Yeah,
I mean, you just got to try to hit it out of the park.
To make everyone happy with this.
No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, it could, but it's like that 1 in a billion shot. Internet trolls notwithstanding. Yeah, but the other thing is the amount of commitment they're showing to this. Like, they're outsourcing work to other development studios, CyberConnect among them, to get this thing moving. Like, they're not just being like, oh, well, you guys got to wait for us to get around to it like all our other projects. Like, they're like, okay, you guys want this. We know we got to do this. I mean, look at how much they got done. We thought they had nothing done.
Yep.
And it looks like they might have a lot of this Midgar part of the game done. Like, that looks like functional combat and exploration. They got cutscenes. I mean, that trailer was a lot more than I expected. So we could be seeing episode 1 soon. Like, I thought 2020 was when we were going to get this thing. Now I'm like, we might get it next year. Like, part 1 might be ready. So kudos to them for throwing so much weight behind it, though, by not just saying you got to wait on us. Like, they said, okay, we got to get help to make this thing move. And with all them, I mean, think about those pre-rendered backgrounds. Now you got to build them all out in 3D. You got to take all that dialogue and get it converted over to voice acting. Like, that, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
And Square ain't gonna let it not be pretty, because there's one thing they do pretty.
I wonder if we would be able to convince them to have like some complicated, convoluted, like multi-episode part thing. Like each episode you have to do like some sort of secret hidden thing, and you have to do all of the episodes correctly, and then you can like save Ares.
I have really been wondering if they might actually be daring enough to try to make it so you can get her. Because I wrote a blog about this back in June where I said I'd like them to release the Keep Eris DLC. Like, I'll buy that, like, where I get to keep her. It makes no sense why she's there, and I don't really care. I just want to keep her because she's a badass spellcaster, and it'd be just neat to play through the game with her.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that was part of like my crazy wish list. Like, let me have Sephiroth, let me have Eris. That'd just be funny as shit. Cloud, Sephiroth, and Eris just traipsing across the the lands of right outside of Midgar. We're just heading over to the Chocobo Ranch, guys. No big deal. Kumbaya.
I'm excited for all the new like the summons, like 15 summon. I cannot wait for that and like all the limit breaks and I think
Oh, the limit break's gonna look so nice.
I'm gonna have to buy some backup pants for when I play through that game or something.
Depends, man. You'll be
Always have
good.
a stack of pants, man. Always have that spare.
Or just always play nude. Just saying. As long as you're streaming on Twitch and you only show from the chest up, you're good.
Wait, is that from experience?
Sounds like it's not.
My lawyer has told me I should not say anything further about this.
Do you guys think there's any chance they port it to PC after they release it on PS4?
Listen,
Or is
man,
it too different to, like, it costs too much to do something like that?
Nah, not in this day and age because the new consoles are so close to PCs. I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard developers saying like the PS4 is practically just like pulled off the shelf PC parts shoved in a specialty case. So I would say yes, but the whole thing is the big thing they're touting is first on PlayStation.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that's going to be.
a
It could
year
be a year, yeah. It could be longer. Like
seems to be what they're doing nowadays. Though, if it's not released on PC first, it's usually like a year wait.
yeah, it could be a 6-month wait. But the thing that would bother me if I was in a situation where I didn't have a PS4 is that this is like the game I want to be playing when it's in the zeitgeist. Like when everybody's playing it, when everybody's talking about it, when everybody's streaming it, and everybody's just losing their shit over it. I want to be in the crowd with
Yeah, yeah.
Like I don't want to be a year late,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that would stop me from saying, well, let me wait for something else. Like I wait. I guess the flip side is you could say I waited like 18 years now. I could wait a little longer. But
And, like, unless they royally screw up the first episode, I bet you, like, there will be a ton of people that buy this game, like, when they release it.
even if they fuck it up, I think a lot of people are gonna buy it.
Yeah, like,
Because
I can see this being their, like, best-selling game of, like, the last 10 years.
It's just that sacred that if they fuck it up,
Yeah.
people are gonna want to buy it just to see how. Like, like they could just trash it, like, and just destroy it, and people are just gonna have to see it just to know, like,
to know that they,
yeah,
like, they won't even, like, take word of mouth. They're still going to buy it just to see how badly they screwed it up.
yeah. So, yeah, I mean, what's good? They did say the cross-dressing scene's staying. They're not backing down from that. Which is good, because you can imagine there's a lot of, like, politically correct, like, stress not to do that, but it's like, that was the game, and this is art, so if it offends you, fuck off and go away. It's not your business then. Like, just go away. It doesn't concern you anymore, Like, that's what it was. Like, I don't know. It's like, I want Barrett to still curse all the time. Like, that's what he did when he was mad.
That's what he does.
Yeah, like if he doesn't curse and they soften the language, it's like, well, you're not being true to what it was.
Yeah.
Like if you change the layout of Midgar, that I'm fine with. Like that's a game design choice. Like we can do a better Midgar now, so let's kind of change it. As long as the movie that's playing is still Loveless, and as long as the bar is still Goblin's Bar, like I don't really care what the rest of it is. Like make it cool. But don't betray the things that are like part of the art of the game. Like Sephiroth can't have red hair, Like no, don't do that.
Smaller swords.
It would be great if there was like one of them scenes like after you use like a 10 at a waypoint or something, like when Cloud gets up and his hair's all flat, and he like goes over and gets some like hair gel product and like spikes it up and he's like, all right, I'm ready to go now, guys. Like that would be some like fun kind of humor to put in, but I don't know. Any other thoughts on hopes and fears?
Nah.
No.
I want to play it like tomorrow. I wish they could just release it like tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. It's getting me hyped. The PS4 thing's helping, though.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna go play it today.
Is it the same as the PC port?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay.
I think the sheets came out. It's on Steam. To read that again.
I was gonna say, I'm afraid for my wallet if they announce a collector's edition.
Oh man.
I'll just have to throw my wallet at the.
Oh my god. Imagine if you got like the Buster Sword. Buster Sword limited edition. Oh, it's so exciting.
$250.
Oh
Sold.
jeez. Oh man. That'd just be so cool. Yeah. Oh, what if they had like dueling limited editions? You get the Buster Sword or the Mazmune edition, you know? It's like
Oh.
talk about people who would have to buy both. I mean, they could really milk
Really?
that.
Oh,
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, this is great reliving all this through this discussion. Before we close the show out, you guys want to play those 20 questions?
oh yeah.
I thought of one more memorable moment.
Oh, well, let's get that out then.
It's too late.
All right.
It's too late. We moved on.
I remembered it back when you mentioned the sectors. You remember
Okay,
when the
yeah.
plate drops?
Oh.
Yes, I just went through that again today.
Yeah,
I love-
that is a moment I remember.
I love when I rewatch it that there's a guy and he like looks up and he just keeps looking up and then as the plate's like almost there, then he starts to run. It's like, dude, you would have ran from the get. You would not have just stared at like been like, oh my god, that is about to crush me. Oh shit, let me get out of here. Like, no, you've been gone. Yeah, that was crazy, man. And then you got President Shinra just watching it from his little executive corner office, like,
Yeah.
you know, hi, I'm an asshole. You know, it's like,
you can kind of hear the tone. He's like, huh, that's too bad.
yeah. Oops. Yeah, it's like, don't worry, dude. There's gonna be like an 8-foot sword sticking out of your spinal cord in about an hour. So, ha. Joke's on you. Yeah. Okay, so 20 questions. I got a game. You guys got 20 yes or no questions to guess the game. If you guess the game incorrectly, the game is over and you lose.
All right.
So, Chris, you can start us off.
All right. Did this game come out? Let's go with the Xbox 360, PS2, GameCube era.
No.
All right. Okay, we'll go with Matt then.
Yeah, there you go. Pass the baton. I should have said something. I'm like, why is nobody asking a question? Because you didn't tell them to, jackass.
Is this an RPG?
This is an RPG, yes.
All right, Drew.
Let's see. Is it a PlayStation exclusive?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess there was a lot of RPGs on PlayStation.
Was this game released on multiple systems?
Yes.
Multi-platform RPG. Okay. Did this game come out for PlayStation? What's that era? PlayStation, Nintendo 64. That era?
Yes, it did.
Yes, it did. RPG, PlayStation, Nintendo 64. What else was there? Is Dreamcast included in that, or is that the PS2?
I think most people consider that part of the PS2 era, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, it was PlayStation and 64 and Sega Saturn was the one you were
Saturn! Yeah.
Okay.
Sad system.
RPGs that came out on both multiple systems?
For PlayStation and 64?
I can't think of very many.
I know, right?
I feel like there was much more exclusivity in that era, so
Alright, Matt.
I think we're gonna hone in on this pretty quickly.
Actually, I'm going to tell you right now, you're falling into a trap based on my answers, so you might want to do a lot more work digging at this.
Uh-oh.
The only thing I'm not gonna tell you where you're gonna fuck this up and screw the whole thing up. What I'm gonna tell you is that don't take my answers too literally because there's a trap in there.
All right. Well, that's cool.
Yeah. So
How
I
many
would keep
We're on like question 5, aren't we?
6.
Oh, six.
Yeah, so that makes it Matt's question.
Is the setting of this game fantasy, as in there's magic, dragons, swords, shields, stuff like that?
Yes.
Ooh.
I think. Is it a turn-based RPG?
Elaborate. Like people have different meanings of turn-based. I don't want to throw you off.
Okay. Is it kind of like a Final Fantasy VII turn-based where it's, you're
Taking turns, but there's active movement of time in the battle system.
yeah.
Yes, it is. Or well, if that's what you mean by turn-based, then yes.
Okay.
If what you mean by turn-based is like I pick my moves and everything stops, and they pick their moves and everything stops, then no.
Okay.
I'll help you out with that one.
Thank you.
Is this game part of a like IP franchise where there's like other games with similar story
Yes.
or themes? Okay.
Mm. Let's see. Was this developed by Square?
Yes.
All right.
Didn't think I would do that, did you?
Keeping with the theme, huh?
I thought I'd see if I could hide that one.
Wait, Andrew, what was your question again?
What was that?
What was your
Oh.
question again?
The one right before you asked if it was Square?
Yeah.
It was whether it was part of a IP franchise,
Okay.
like Zelda or Final Fantasy or so.
I can think of only one right off the top of my head.
But if we don't gather information, if we just guess, then we lose.
Correct.
So
You could talk amongst yourselves though and try to narrow it out if you got that game. You just can't.
Ask you if that's it.
Only because you'll just shoot yourselves in the foot. Is it this game? Is it that game? Is it that game? And you'll be out of questions in a minute.
Yeah.
Where are we at now? Question-wise?
Question 10, and that makes it Matt's question, I think, right? Yeah. So here, I'll give you a quick recap. So
right.
it's an RPG developed by Square. It is a multi-platform game. It did come out in the PS and 64 era.
Oh, I know what the trap is now.
It is a fantasy setting, and it is turn-based by the active time turn-based. And it is a franchise. There are more than one games released in this series.
Let's see. I think the trap has to do with the multi-platform.
because it
What do you
came out
mean?
in the PS, PlayStation, and 64 era, but maybe the
Got
other
released
systems-
otherwise
Yeah.
later on.
Trying to think. Well, whose question is it? It's Matt's question?
Yeah, I can't think of any.
Somebody else can ask a question if you got one then.
Yeah, I'll pass.
We could just start asking about the Square franchises. There's only like 4 of them, I think.
There's a decent amount. I mean, especially made by Square. I mean, some of the ones that come to my head, I don't know if you consider, like a Parasite Eve game.
Just to clarify what Chris asked, is this a Square game or is it a Square Enix?
Well, at that time, there was only Squaresoft.
Yeah. Okay.
So that eliminates that.
Yeah, Square Enix was the merger was 2001, 2003, I forget.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like in the 2003-4 range. So yeah, that's this game is before that.
Trying to think. I mean, some other really good ones are. I mean, looking at my collection right here.
Geez, he doesn't even need Google. He's just like, well, I have every Square game ever made right in front of me. So.
Because I have the Parasite Eve. I mean, there's Chrono Trigger. I see. Legend Mana. I mean, that's the Legend series. I mean, this is RPGs on PS1. There's a lot.
There's a lot, man.
So I guess we can kind of try to narrow them down. I think we should try to eliminate if it's like I mean, I don't know if you'd choose a Final Fantasy game.
But it was on multiple platforms.
Yeah,
I suppose it could be on.
But he said it was on.
It could have come out on PlayStation and then, let's say, PC later on.
Oh, yeah. I think I might know which one it could be. Because he said the game itself came out on multiple platforms.
Doesn't mean that it was released right away on multiple platforms. Yeah.
I'm thinking that it could be Chrono Trigger, but we gotta narrow it down.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
All right, so let's think of things that made Chrono Trigger very unique.
Oh, I can think of one right away. But I'm not playing.
Because it came out, I know it came out on PlayStation first, and then it came out. No. It came out on.
Came out on Super Nintendo and then it was ported. Was it?
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember it was out on
Yeah, and then it came out on PlayStation. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask: did the game come out for Nintendo first and then PlayStation?
Yes.
Does that sum it up, guys?
I mean, we still have a lot of questions, so maybe we should rush into things.
Yeah, actually, there are other games that fit that same criteria by Square, so you might want to be careful still.
Yeah.
I could think of about 3 of them right off the top of my head. So.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't own multiple versions of some games. So, okay, someone else think of a question.
I have a general game question.
Sure. You guys are fine. You're only on question 11.
Do the games that we pick for this have to be released in the U.S., or could they not have come to the U.S. at all?
I wouldn't pick a game that didn't release in the U.S.
Yeah.
There's no. I mean, we may as well not even play.
All right.
Like, you know.
I mean, there's. I'm trying to think too, because.
All you got to do is think about something unique
to
each game to ask, and then the yes or no kind of sends you in the right direction.
I don't even remember Chrono Trigger that much.
I don't either. I'm looking up the Wikipedia page right now.
Oh, whoa! What's this? Google? Whoa! Foul!
Is that cheating? We never determined.
Well, yeah. Come on, man. That's like playing trivia and using your smartphone. Like, it's not cool.
I don't. I have no way to narrow it down because I
There is something
because
about.
I don't actually believe I played that game in any significant length.
Mm.
This is the one we think it is. So
I guess. I mean, I could ask about something that's on the cover of it, or
That's
maybe
an interesting approach.
does the main character have red hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, now we have 2 games, right? Chrono Trigger, Chrono Cross. You could do either one of those.
but Chrono Cross wasn't released on the SNES, was it?
No.
But again, it's part of well.
And the main protagonist, Surge, has blue hair.
Ah.
Okay.
All right. Let's
I'm
think.
trying to think it's looking pretty close.
If you really think it's Chrono Trigger, there's something that sticks out like a goddamn giant sore thumb that game has that no other game I've ever played has, and it's so obvious.
Mm.
Um. Yeah.
Well, look, settings are easy.
Oh
to
wait, I got
confuse.
one. I got one.
Okay.
I think I got one. Let's see if I. Shit. The random encounters. In the random encounters of this game were the characters on the map.
Like the
So you know how you play like Final
same
Fantasy?
map you traverse on?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so that's definitely in Chrono Trigger.
Settings change, man. But they're similar though across many games. Characters are unique to every game.
All right, so we have to do one more question. I think we can seal the deal.
I guess isn't there like a frog character in that game? Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think there is.
So I'll ask that question: is there a frog character in this game?
There is a character who is a bipedal frog. Yes.
All right, last question. Seal the deal. Is there time travel in this game?
Yes.
All right, so is the game Chrono Trigger?
Yes, the game is Chrono Trigger.
I didn't want to ask the time travel one because I was like, all right, let's just see. I don't want to just be like, nope, and then we have to go start over again.
Maybe next time I won't look at my game shelf.
That's perfect.
It's hard for me to tell you not to look at stuff that's right in front of you, but yeah. I mean,
He was left.
keep off Google, that's good enough. I mean, yeah. No, see, there was a trick there, though, because, Chris, you asked if it was released
Yep.
in the PS4 and the PlayStation and 64 era. You didn't ask if it was originally released, which was the trick. I answered the question as asked, but I was worried you were going to be like, it's a PlayStation game, it's an N64 game. The hell is it?
If you didn't say there was a trick, we probably would have just stopped there.
I felt like you were going to get ground to a halt and never figure it out because you were going to just think about PlayStation games instead of...
It would have been PlayStation, because then Andrew asked the multi-platform game, and that was it. That was a wrap, because we would have just been stuck right there.
Yeah, well, thinking about Square multi-platform games, if you don't open yourself up to the idea that it might have been across different system generations, is just good luck with that.
Yeah, because they also released that game on DS and
That's
there's
like
a mobile version too.
Yeah, it's like what's that? What game am I thinking of? Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
That came out on like everything for a while, and now it's on every mobile device.
Yeah.
That's a Square game too, isn't it?
Yeah, there's Dragon Warrior.
It's an Enix game, yeah.
Enix, okay.
Yeah. So they were competitors. It was Dragon Warrior here in the U.S. for a long time, and they were competitors though. I mean, Dragon Warrior came out before Final Fantasy, But
Ah.
but when Final Fantasy I dropped, it was like, like to hell with Dragon Warrior. Like this is so much deeper, you know. So, but it was good. I mean, Dragon Warrior was a different kind of game. Dragon Warrior is all about grinding. So Drew loves it.
It's on my shelf.
Oh man, yeah. So that's good. We got that done. So I just want to ask, does anybody have anything they want to plug while they're on the show here?
Plugs.
Well, I did actually did my first actual stream last week. My Twitch account is it's Cookie Ninja with no spaces. The first O is a letter and the second O is a 0. So it's CO0KIENINJA. And we're definitely actually making a concrete schedule. I made a Facebook page. We made a Twitter account. So we're gonna get very
There's a Facebook page? Hold on.
yeah.
Going in.
What's the Twitter, man?
You see, Matt is going to go on there and he's going to spam all these like embarrassing pictures of you on there. Dude, just your wall is going to be covered with bad pictures now.
Well, my partner Ian made the Twitter account because he's more Twitter savvy than I am. So I'll have to get that from him. I'm guessing it would be the same.
MidGameStreamers.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know.
Knowing that guy, it could be anything.
How do I find your page?
That's good. You got the stream going, man.
Yeah. No, it's been a long process, but.
Let's ask the life-defining question here. What is the what kind of content you run on the stream for anybody who hears this and wants to know?
Well, we've been playing. We actually tried out some. It was a game on. It was a Steam game. Let me see if I can figure out the.
Good start.
What?
That's a good start.
We play bro shooters, man.
It was a game. It was an RPG that was made by one guy, and so it's kind of like an indie game. But I don't know. We're playing a little bit of everything. The first game we did our test was.
Are you playing Undertale?
Yeah. That game is ridiculous. Undertale is what it was called.
I am dying to check
Dude,
that out.
I've been looking at that game for a long
It's
time.
ridiculous. My friend Ian, the other person that's doing the stream, he's like, yeah, we got to definitely do this one, and it's a really it's not a super long game, but it's really well made. I love the soundtrack. I like the concept. I kept hitting, I was very terrible at it for some reason. I kept you have a choice that you can fight or try to talk with the random encounters and try not to kill them. And for some reason, I'd always just hit I'd hit enter right away because I was so impatient, and I would go into the fight sequence. But no, it's got like mini games in between, whatever action you do as well. But I don't know. We're planning on playing. I'm a very open gamer. I play almost everything, and I own pretty much tons of different games. So. I don't know, anything from RPGs to anything. We're going to take requests, which I think is kind of unique, and I own most of the games, so hopefully people won't have to actually buy them or send them or things like that. So
Have you played Dark Souls yet?
I'm gonna send you. Yeah, look, I'm gonna send you a game because I want you to stream it.
Yeah.
And everybody will remember this from 2 weeks ago. I'm gonna send you Quest 64.
I already own it, actually.
Can you please stream that?
I already beat
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want to stream a Quest 64, and I want your technical analysis of what the development team was thinking as they developed it.
I'll do my best. I could use an extra copy. No, I'm just kidding. But I could use my copy. But no, I'd definitely be open to that game. So.
That's a
No,
shit
please,
game.
dude. If anybody watches you stream Quest, that's
There'll
cool.
probably be a lot of people is someone really streaming? They'll join it, and they'll be like, someone actually is, and they'll leave right away.
You
I'd
could
wait
tell
till you
people
have
it's like
really
part of your
good
parole deal with the state or something. It's more believable.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So what's your next game?
What was the Facebook page? I'm having a hard time finding it.
It should be MidGameStreamers.
MidGame Streamers. Oh, there we go.
Uh-oh.
Apparently spelled it wrong or something.
Poor guy. So what's the
Well,
next
if any
game?
of you have trouble like Matt finding the page, just do a little Google search, mid-game streamers. Okay, you should find it. It's good stuff. Check my man Drew out while he's playing Quest 64.
Yeah.
Describing bland buildings and why there's so much fog there.
And then using that, there's like one spell, like there's like a barrier spell that, like without that, it was almost impossible. Like some of the bosses were just like, it was like, what the heck were they thinking? Like it's ridiculously hard to really grind in that game. It's very like, I don't know. It was one of the more challenging games for me to actually like grind as much as I could. So.
Oh man.
Might be worth a watch.
Yeah, let me know when you're streaming that. I will certainly tweet that out to people because that's just great. All right.
I might be streaming tomorrow night, but that's we'll post on some social media and all that good stuff. So subscribe if you wanna get the heads up. So.
Cool.
Stream request, dude. It's so great. Little Shaq Fu after that. There you go. Okay. Anything else anybody wants to put out there? Okay. I'll take that as we're good to end the show then. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. We had a real full room here tonight and a lot of good Final Fantasy VII discussion. So if you want to check the show out, you can find us on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, and the other podcast services. Just search Collective Gamescast. You can visit the website, collectivegc.com. We host a podcast on there as well. If you want to be on the show, email us, collectivegamescast@gmail.com. We're also on Twitter @TheCollectiveGC. You can stay up to date on show news. You can contact me on Twitter. I'm @TheMalgadar, MALGADAR. And you can find me on PSN. I am _Malgadar. If you want to talk to Chris, you can hit him up on Twitter. He is @ChrisBCGC. And until next time, guys, we are The Collective.